Hello guys, welcome to another Houdini tutorial. Today we're gonna create a fireball. I'm gonna go with a geometry first. And oops, something's wrong with my computer today. I'm gonna call this guy emitter, and inside of it I need a sphere. For no particular reason, I'm gonna this time instead of using a mountain, just to show you what we can, we're gonna actually model this sphere to give it some interesting variations. Right beneath it, I'm gonna create a clip so that we can cut the bottom out. And then I'm gonna go press S and 3 button on the keyboard, and double click on the edge, tab and fill, polyfill to fill it. And that polyfill is not fitting them pretty well. The reason for that is because the mode is kind of like this quadrilaterals. Let's also change that to quadrilateral grid so that it's doing this. Okay, much better. Alright, I'm gonna go for S again to select and press the 2 button for points. Then grab this guy and then press T button to go to move, and use the middle mouse wheel to rotate to change the soft selection. You can also drag that bar, and then you just drag it. I'm gonna art direct this part manually. Okay, and this guy. If it's helpful, you can also press M button to toggle to word or screen or object space. Oops, go up like that. Let's see, maybe I can make this big chunk bigger. And maybe this smaller chunk also go up. So what I'm trying to do is create a explosion base, or trying to use this geometry to represent the primary shape of the explosion. For no particular reason that I have to do this. Again, this is for, you know, to show you another kind of like way to really model this to a shape you want. Oops. Check this out. Oops. Comma. Alright, let's say I'm happy with it. Actually not quite happy, but maybe I want some longer line here, and this one, right, and this one. Alright, cool. Like a blast. Now I'm gonna drag this to the side and drag it. Oops, I have to edit for some reason, but anyway, I'm dragging down now from the polyfill and create a blend shape, and I'm gonna connect the results of my modeling to the second input of the blend shape. Now we can go down here and drag that blend to tell it to blend from the original shape to the new shape. Okay, now I'm also gonna create a transform here and scale it down to 0.2 so that it's really flat. I'm gonna escape from that point selection. Right. So now my blend shape will still work like this. I'm gonna keyframe this guy. So frame 1 is gonna be 0. Alt click and go to frame 12. I'm gonna alt click it again, but drag it to 1 to and alt click again to animate it. So now I have this cool animation to mimic a blast. After that, I'm gonna create a trail and call this guy trail velocity, and use that to compute velocity. Now after that, I need a fluid source to convert that into a fluid source. As you can see, we have velocity and everything. I'm gonna go for the scalar volume SDF from geometry, check out minimum distance and empty interior. So that's gonna give me a solid volume, I'm gonna go for noise here too, just to give it some variations. Sharpen it up. Element size can go just a little lower. I can also have some cell on it. Doesn't look really nice, maybe not. Anyway, so for the velocity, I'm just gonna keep it the way it is, because that's how I kind of wanted those initial velocity to be. So after this, I'm gonna create a node and call this guy emitter. And moving out of it, I'm gonna create a dub network, and name this guy explosion stem. And inside of it, I need a pyro solver, and that guy goes to the output. This is a smoke object. The other guy will be a fluid source. Source volume. This guy. Okay. So this guy will be reading the emitter here, right? Accept. And here I'm gonna use add for the velocity, and underneath sub to dub, I'm gonna change the density. Actually, just change the temperature volume to density, because I don't have any temperature, and I need fuel for the ignition or combustion. So fuel will be reading the density, and temperature is also be reading density. So basically what I mean is just use that little fog I created earlier as the fuel and the temperature, and start burning right away. And velocity will be velocity. Okay, cool. Now I just also need a dynamic gas resize fluid dynamic, and check out the clamp to maximum, and then the bounds. Also make the upper padding scale to 10, so it's gonna be able to compensate the top space, give it some space on the top to breathe. So now when I start playing, I should see my explosion goes up right away. Cool. Just to make things easier to see, I'm gonna press D button and go to the background, change the color scheme to dark, and also no grid, and maybe a light. So I'm gonna go here to the top right corner, and holding down Control, click area light to assign the area light, and space Y to toggle show others off and go into the explosion. Okay, so this is what I have now, which is not bad. Let me go change my frame range from 240 to from 240 to maybe just 80 frames for now, and let's go simulate. As you can see, my explosion are now getting emitted out, and this is actually burning the fuel, and the fuel will get temperature, and the temperature will push the fuel up, and while the temperature is pulling the flame up, and the flame also generate fog or smoke. So that's a system based on fuel and temperature. Again, fuel gets burned because there are temperature. When they burn, they generate flame. Flame are hot because their temperature are high, right? So they goes up. And then also when they cool down, they generate smoke. And the other way, when fuel and temperature, when fuel are burning, they also generate more temperature. So there's a lot of things happening here, and that's the shape it generated for me. All right, so that's the first step, right? We just created a emitter. We set it up the basic of the simulation. So in the next class, we're gonna go for some visualization. See you next time.